Growing up, it was kind of different for me due to the fact that my mom worked second shift, so I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house, and it was 13 of us she had to watch, so we kind of did our own thing. So eventually, it kind of led me hanging out with, the people in the neighborhood, which we all were good athletes. We all, had good people in our life. It was just the fact that we didn't have them all the time. So we became a product of the neighborhood, which was, being in the gang and breaking into houses and cars and things like that. And as I got older, I kind of ventured away from that aspect, but I still was kind of an angry person, kind of a rebellious person towards my mom and my father not being around. The way I got into the mixed martial arts, I was bouncing at a club, and literally every week we would get into a big brawl. And I met some guy, this guy Eric Wilson. He came and he told me, dude, you're doing all this fighting for chump change. Why don't you do this for real where it means something? So he took me to a gym, and from there, I wanted to learn everything about it. I didn't want to learn just how to punch. I wanted to learn the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu aspect of it and things like that. So what happened was he introduced me to another guy, and it just kind of like was a domino effect. And at first when I started it, I did not want to compete at all. I didn't want to fight in the cage and stuff like that. And then my two jiu-jitsu coaches at the time was Brian Sonnery and Deion Thompson, and they talked me into fighting my first time. And my first time I fought, I lost. And that right there changed my whole aspect on fighting, because now I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to train properly and things like that. So after that, I've had a very successful martial art career. The reason why I'm so pressed on and so passionate about the anti-bullying things is because I really learned a lot of it when I started teaching kids. One of the reasons why I started teaching kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is because this wasn't around when I was that age. And all we had growing up was boxing and, wrestling. And so this wasn't around at that age. So when I started doing it, everything started to hit me with the bullying thing, because those were the stories that I was getting when their kids were signing up for the class and things like that. And then I kind of shunned it at first because we tend to be ignorant with things that we are not familiar with. And I wasn't familiar with getting bullied. I've never technically been bullied. So when I actually started doing the research, I started seeing the suicide numbers and seeing suicide attempts and things like that from kids as young as 8 years old, and it really just took to me. So, that became more than just teaching the kid martial arts. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu it can look intimidating, and it is a physical sport. So for someone to not ever done anything of that nature, and there's not a sport, right, even football is very physical and things like that, but there's not a martial art nor a sport that is more physically demanding than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. So when I see a kid come in who comes straight from the couch, who comes straight from the Xbox, and they come in and they work so hard, and they do successful at tournaments, now we're putting them in a situation where they're competing against another human being who they don't know, and they do really good. Their confidence just shoots through the roof. And that's just, honestly, everybody's not a basketball player, everybody's not a football player, everybody's not a baseball player, things like that. So when kids come in and take to this, and even the good athletes, when they come in and try something new, a lot of people this is taking people out of their comfort zone. A football player, doesn't want to be on the ground wrestling around and stuff like that. They want to run, dodge the contact, stuff like that. So even those kids coming in and taking to it and progressing is very rewarding. My number is always available. I'm 24/7 around the clock when it comes to it. I've had people call me with incidents at 3 in the morning. Like, I mean, I don't want to say a counselor because I'm not a counselor, but guidance and mentor. And that's a lot of things that a lot of people don't offer, because 9 times out of 10, the kid who's getting bullied don't want to really share it with parents because it's possibly embarrassing. So for me to be that outlet where they can talk to me and things like that is great. And I've had some really good success helping out.
I stopped the bully. I stopped the bully.
I stopped the bully.
I stopped the bully.
I stopped the bully.
I stopped the bully.
Hi, I'm Brandon Copeland, and I stopped the bully.